Hello everyone, and welcome to Session 2 of Star Trek Aristotle, a Star Trek Adventures actual play set in the TOS-era using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is ELH the Game Master, and joining me are four lovely individuals who we'll meet right now, starting with Captain Cullen.
Who are these? Wait, am I including these lovely people?
I literally just said your name.
Oh, I feel honored. Hello.
That's it? No, nothing to shout out, just hello?
Remember, wherever you go, there you are.
Thank you, Shizno. Words of wisdom from Shizno. Krell, anything you want to say?
Nope, just hey, how's it going, everyone? Playing Commander Krell.
All right. Thestral, anything on your end?
Uh, Nothing right now. Just hi. My name's Arwen. Arwen Babblefish on social media, and I'm playing the Cursed with Bad Luck roles. ENR Communications Officer, Lieutenant Thestral.
There's always one. It's Peter and Aegir, and it's just there's always at least one person in every group that has the bad roles. But last but not least, Minetti, anything you want to shout out?
Nothing to shout out. Hey folks, Gray playing Lieutenant Junior Grade Minetti. Yeah, nothing to shout out. Just hope everybody enjoys the show.
All right, let's run that intro and we'll get started. And welcome back. So, something I like doing is having the players do an opening log, and since this is a two-parter, that means we have a supplemental. And I believe, Mr. Krell, you have that honor today.
Indeed, I do. Very much. Alrighty, let's get going. Chief Engineer's Log, Supplemental. We've made significant headway aboard the USS Merryweather since our arrival. Initial scans confirm our suspicions. The crew's transformation is indeed linked to an unidentified mineral originating from a nearby planetary body. This mineral also seems to be ship systems, and the effects are nothing short of remarkable, boosting overall efficiency and output to levels I've never encountered on a starship. While the potent applications for Starfleet are undeniable, the priority remains on resolving the crisis at hand. Our medical team aboard the Aristotle is working tirelessly to understand the extent of the crew's condition, scan data we provided. Increased aggression and hypertrophy seem to be the most prominent effects. While aggressive, they appear to be working in concert to some unknown goal. We can't risk infecting the Aristotle, so we will have to do what we can. The captain's directive is clear. Rescue the Merryweather's crew, halt the spread of the mineral's influence. However, I'm cautiously optimistic we might secure samples of the mineral for further analysis by Starfleet research team. If harnessed responsibly, this discovery could revolutionize. But for now, the well-being of the crew takes precedence. End log.
All right, and you may have a momentum. And you were cutting in a little bit in and out. I don't know if it's anything on your end, but you were still audible, which is what mattered. But yeah, where we resume, for those of you that remember the very end of last session, is that I had spent a bunch of threat to make a reversal. And there was that Shodan cross G-Man voice that basically said that they cannot allow you, whoever they is, they cannot allow you to stop their great work. And part of that scene, as this plays across the ship, the bridge doors all seal shut and gas begins filtering into the bridge. And then if I remember correctly, Thestral and Minetti, you guys are down in, not main engineering, but you are down in one of the security offices, correct?
Yes, and I believe Thestral has been exposed to the agent.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So same thing's going to happen around the two of you down in the security annex, where the corridor doors will seal and gas will begin filtering in. But I will remind all of you, you are technically in EV suits. So unless you have cracks in your helmet, which nobody does at this point because Thestral, you've swapped to a new EV suit, you all are basically immune to whatever's filtering through the air.
Can we get a rating on what's filtering into the air?
Sure, if you want to roll me a reason science or a reason medicine, difficulty of 1.
Oh, one. Don't I gotta focus? I do not.
2 successes, you get a momentum for your troubles. So it is a potent combination of anestazine and a few other knockout gases, but you also note that there are the mineral particulate, the same mineral that is causing the power efficiency boost, and as well as the quote-unquote transformation sequence that you've identified.
Just gonna look at Krell. Well, whatever this is, they seem pretty intent on trying to get us infected. Luckily for us, they're sealed up like a soup can.
I knock on the my EV suit and say, "Yes, I always feel safer in one of these."
Well, let's not get too comfortable. Nothing is completely impenetrable. I think it would be a good idea if we tried to shut off that gas and attempt to communicate. Yeah, that's a good question. GM, how was where did that voice come from? I'd like to try to identify that.
So it was broadcasted throughout the ship, but if you want to, go over to a panel and trace where the source of the signal is from, that would be probably a reason and a con on your part, I believe. Difficulty of 1 as well.
Yes, I would like to do that.
Just as a reminder for myself, Cullen and Krell are on the bridge. Minetti and Thestral are where again?
Down on deck 2 or 3 and one of the security annexes.
Okay.
And
we still have our open comm.
Yes.
Yes, I believe last episode, shortly before the voice came on, there was an issue with a suit breach, and then Captain Cullen was able to talk Thestral down from a seemingly agitated mood.
Yes, he did a great job with that.
Right.
Does my communication systems focus apply here?
It would. And actually, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a engineering instead of con, because I forgot engineering is your better score here.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
And again, it's only a difficulty of 1.
Great.
All right, 1 success is all you need. Yeah, that signal that was broadcasted is coming from the cargo bay, the same cargo bay where apparently there's a bunch of parishioners of an unknown sediment object thing.
All right. All right. Later, because right now we probably need to get out of this, figure out how to get out of this room. But at some point, I'm going to want to run a linguistic analysis on the raw translation that came through the UT, if it came through the UT. But right now, I want to focus on getting the door open.
Okay.
But that'll be my next choice, but I don't want to monopolize time here. So someone else, if you want to switch to someone else.
Is the gas continuously coming in, or is it like, it doused for a period of time and now it's back to normal? Because if not, I'm going to try and
I would
shut
say
down.
that if you stare at the vents as it's filtering in, whoop, there's an alarm. I would say that as you're looking at the vents, probably 2-3 minutes pass and the vents are still kicking out whatever this substance is.
Okay, I'm going to try and deal with that too.
Okay.
I guess it's probably the operations console. And,
and it is unlocked because Colin did put it in its command code, so you can use it.
Yeah, so I'm assuming there's going to be a lock, but I'm going to just try and turn that off per normal Starfleet procedures.
Okay. Control and engineering, difficulty of 2. And as a reminder, you do have 5 momentum, but you don't need it. You get the 2 you need. And yeah, do you want to shut it off just for the bridge, across the ship, the security annex?
Is it activated in the cargo hold?
It's everywhere on the ship.
Then yeah, I'm just going to shut it down because I'm assuming that it doesn't have any effect. But actually, after I shut it down, or maybe before I do that, I'm going to just, can I look at the internal sensors to see if I can detect the activity levels of the infected crew?
Yes. And if you give me momentum, I will answer that question truthfully.
Alrighty.
All right. So by using the obtained information spend, using momentum, again, I have to answer it completely truthfully. The entities, as I'll call them, are far more active now. In fact, they are roaming the corridors at alarming speed. They are beelining for the bridge and for the security annex. In fact, if you want a specific number, there's 3 going for the security annex, and there's 3 headed towards the bridge.
Alrighty. I'm turning off the knockout gas across the entire ship with the result of my previous check. And then I turn to the captain and say, Captain, we have three infected incoming. They will be here momentarily. I suggest we prepare. And then I'm going to open up then I'm going to say, Theshtal, Mineni, did you hear that? You've got some coming too.
Yes, we heard that, Commander. Thank you. We're going to work on getting out of here one way or the other. We'll keep you apprised of our progress. Thestral out.
And then Minetti will say to Thestral, you just focus on doing what you can. I'll focus on keeping them occupied.
All right. No unnecessary risks, buddy. Okay?
No unnecessary risks.
All right. I'd like to try to figure out the door controls.
With the intent to seal them, I suppose?
It depends on how close they are. Is there another way out of the security annex?
At the moment, I'm going to say there is, but it's a Jeffries tube opening, which means you would have to go single file.
Okay. All right. I'll work on sealing this door, and then Minetti, my suggestion is we book it for that Jeffries tube and try to meet up with the captain somewhere. We'll coordinate en route.
I concur with that assessment. Definitely don't want to stick around here longer than we have to.
All right. So, Thestral, you working at the door, go ahead and give me a daring engineering difficulty of 2.
Okay.
And we got lots of momentum, so don't be afraid to spend some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to probably spend 1. And Commander Krell? Thestral to Commander Krell?
This is Commander Krell.
I just refreshed my memory. It's been a little while since I've looked at the schematics for the door seals. Do you want to reinitialize the pneumatics and then re-engage the automatic the emergency locks? Is that correct?
Yep, that's exactly it. You got it.
All right. So that's my RP way of asking you to assist over the comms.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Krell,
okay.
if you want to assist with a presence engineering on your part. And remember, as an assist, you're only rolling 1 die.
Correct.
All right.
Nope.
All right, well, no help from Krell, apparently.
All right. So I am rolling 3 die, and because I need to make sure I spend that momentum.
All right, well, you get the 2 successes you need, and you're down to 3 momentum. So yeah,
Okay.
Thestral, you are able to basically seal the door, magnetic lock or maglock, whatever the actual term for it is, and not a moment too soon because you do hear the arrival of the 3 entities on the other side of the door, and they're pounding and hitting and trying to pry the door open, but for the time being, it is sealed and you can make an escape.
Right. All right, Minetti, let's hoof it. Thank you,
You
Commander.
want to go first, or should I go first?
I guess it makes sense for me to go first.
All right, I'll follow up. I don't think they should be able to break through that door, but if they do, I'll make sure that they don't follow us in here.
All right. While that's going on, same sort of scenario on the bridge between Cullen and Krell. You have a few turbo lifts headed up, and you also have the Jeffries tube that you came in through, and there's basically 3 entities coming your way. So how would you all like to deal with that situation?
How are they coming? Where are they coming from? Up a turbo lift or down
There
like a hallway?
is one in each of the 2 turbo lifts that are attached to the bridge, and then there's one coming through the Jeffries tube that you came in through.
I'm going to try and shut down 2 turbo lifts.
Okay.
Let's see. Again from the operations console.
All right. Probably a daring engineering difficulty of 2 as well.
All right. I'll give you a threat.
Okay. Oh, Theshel, do you have untapped potential?
No, I do not.
Okay. Because if you had, that would have been a roll for you.
Okay.
It's that time in the episode where I look at my 8 sticky notes that say untapped potential.
It's just baby Minetti, I think.
And focus power system, since I'm trying to shut down power to the turbo lifts.
I'd allow it.
All right. So 3 die, buying with them.
And you get 4 successes, meaning you get 2 momentum back for your trouble, bringing you up to 5. And yeah, you are easily able to shut down the turbo lifts before they arrive. In fact, with that many successes, if you also want to seal off the Jeffries tube, I'll give that to you as well.
Would I be spending a momentum for that?
Nah, I'll give it to you free.
Then I'll do it.
All right. So yeah, Cullen and Krell, you have now sealed the bridge. There is no in or out except by transporter, but you are safe for the moment.
After finishing that, I look over to Captain Cullen and say, Captain, any leadership suggestions? I'm all ears.
Just thinks for a moment. He's like, "These ships utilizes gravity manipulation through the deck plating, right?
Yes, sir. Standard across Starfleet vessels.
And every deck plating has its own little field emitter.
Yes, it's necessary for it's dealing with local gravitational anomalies.
Right, and those field emitters receive command wirelessly through the main computer to maintain equal gravity across every deck plate, correct?
Correct, sir.
What if we make the, tricorder issue out new commands for 2 deck plates in front of us at their heaviest sin, but the deck plate we're standing on is considered normal? Give us a little bubble of either intense gravity or 0G, or repelling. Sticks them to the ceiling as we just walk past.
I like your thinking, sir. It's definitely not intended for that use. Generally, they get shut down in a larger block, but I'm sure I can figure out a way.
Sure you can.
All right, let's see. Probably would go to just an access panel, like pretty much like a joint or a fuse box. Pull it open and using my engineering toolkit, I'm gonna pull out. Were isolinear chips a thing yet?
Not yet.
That's
no.
TNG, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the the TOS chips? I'm gonna pull out a.
Duotronic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you are right. Duotronic. All right, I'm going to take out a. I can't think of the name right now. A tool that I'm going to use to interface with the Duotronic circuits that control the grab plating on the bridge. And I'm going to create a connection to my engineering tricorder so I can remotely control it from here on out.
All right. Well, let's break down the roll. It is a very difficult roll, difficulty of 4. However, you do have an engineering tricorder, so that difficulty will come down to a 3. This will be a daring engineering on your part, and Cullen could assist with a presence engineering. I would also say that the complication range would be 18 to 20 on this one.
Alrighty. So you said 3 is going to be the difficulty total.
Correct.
Okay.
Would team dynamics or reverse engineering count as a
Both would
focus?
apply as focuses. Yep.
Excellent. I just roll 1 dice, correct?
Correct.
Feel free to use
I'm
up some momentum too,
thinking-
because I think we're back up to 5.
Potentially starship maintenance or physics. A little bit of a stretch on either or. for
I'd
my
give you either.
focuses. All right, I'm going to do starship maintenance probably. That makes more sense. And to be safe, I'll buy 1 die.
Okay.
3, use focus. Oh,
Oh, well, wait 1 second. Let me roll.
Okay.
Never mind.
So, Krell, I know you have at least 1
Oh.
point of determination because I offered you a devil's deal last time, but do you
I'm
want to
gonna
spend
use my-
determination?
Before that, I'm going to try my cautious engineering to re-roll one of those failures.
Okay, yeah. Definitely try to get rid of that 20.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get rid of that 20. Use focus, 1 die. Nah.
So, no longer a complication, but you still only have 2 successes here. So, the good news is now I can at least offer you a success with complication.
Yeah, let's liven it up.
Okay. So, good news, you are able to create a link or at least a field, kind of like a Bluetooth field where you can connect with all the deck plating as you walk down the ship. The complication is that you have 2 settings on the deck plating, unfortunately, because again, you're doing this fast and you only have so many tools on hand. You have 0 gravity and you have Jupiter gravity, which means that you're either stuck to the floor or you're floating.
And potentially taking severe damage when we smash into the floor at Jupiter gravity.
Yeah, if you're floating in the air and you go into Jupiter, yeah, you're going to crash that floor pretty hard. Might even be hard enough to crack your face plating. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Or someone's per kneecaps just go like, we're leaving.
And I would know this, right?
Yes, you would know this.
Okay. Well, after finishing, I look back to Captain Colin and say, well, it works. Perhaps a little too well. It's going to be a little bit of a this or the other with the gravity, sir.
Well, if you want to go down in the history books of making a tactic called the Krell Crush, I recommend we use 0G.
Agreed, sir. So yeah, I'll set the grav plating. Well, just before that, so Colin, what's the current goals to like trigger the grav plates around the perimeter of the bridge?
It's more or less to use as a way to navigate the ship.
Okay.
We're able to leave, and then we have this mobile field.
Perfect, sir. Alrighty. Can I hear the well, actually, where did the turbo lifts stop?
Where did you want them to stop?
Not right at the bridge. I would have tried to stop them before they arrived, like on the lower deck.
Okay.
So then I'll turn to the captain and say, well, you're the captain, sir. Where shall we head first?
I think we should try and meet up with Thestral and Manetti.
That seems like a prudent course of action. Let me try and pull up the ship schematics, load them to my tricorder so we can try and avoid the worst areas. And I'm going to do that.
All right. So, just so that I have a complete picture, are you guys going to reactivate a turbo lift and go that way? Are you going to go through the Jeffries tube? Because again, you sealed everything at the moment.
Yeah. Not speaking as Krell, I think potentially the turbo lift probably makes the most sense. How far away are they?
You could summon a turbo lift that you stopped pretty quickly. Just remember that each turbo lift that leads to the bridge has an entity in it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I know. I meant how far are Mid-80 and Thestral, like how many decks?
Oh, they're about 2-3 decks away. Again, it's an Archer class ship, so it's a smaller ship. So you could connect very easily.
Okay.
Cullen's gonna look at the turbolift controls, and he's just gonna see which one has the least amount of occupants in it and which one has the most occupants in it.
They're actually pretty even. There's only one in each.
Okay. Cullen's just gonna softly override the safeties.
Okay.
And he's just gonna make it bounce up and down a couple of times.
Okay.
Just to really stun the crap out of whoever's in there and then bring it up to the bridge.
All right. Cullen, daring engineering, difficulty of 2.
Could I consider this negotiations with the computer systems?
No. No.
I kind of negotiations.
Percussive negotiations.
No.
What about cultural stamp skin?
No. All right, no successes. So, yeah, Cullen, you push a button and nothing happens. You push another button, nothing happens.
At that point, I clue in what Captain Cullen's trying to do and say, "Oh, apologies, sir. I probably locked down that console," and try and repower that specific turbo lift and not the other ones from the operations console.
All right. So before I spring it on you, what is your plan for when the entity arrives at the bridge and tries to get at you? What is your plan here?
Well, both of us have phasers.
Well, this is true. You both have phasers.
Yeah, we both have phasers, so I think it makes sense to disengage the grav plating just outside the turbo lift, so the entrance. We can stand a little bit back. With what we've seen, the individual's probably just going to charge right at us, and they're just going to run face first into 0G.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do this in turn then. You set the controls to bring the entity up to the bridge. The two of you step back and create a zone of 0G to trip up anyone rushing out of the turbo lift. The doors open, and coming out is a much larger, formerly human entity. In fact, it's one of those things where you just barely can tell that they used to be humanoid, because they've just put on that much muscle mass and that much transfiguration to their actual stature and biology. But they come rushing out. They hit the 0G and they start tumbling end over end. But you do both have a chance to shoot your phaser here to stun them as you so wish. So who wants to attempt first?
Well, I'll let Krell go first.
All right, Krell, control security, difficulty of 2.
Okie dokie. I'm going to aim for my minor action,
which will allow you to reroll a d20 if need be.
I reread the combat rules. Ha ha ha. I'm unstoppable. And I am going to, fire my, it's just one, so I'm just going to fire my phaser. And daring security is not
control
my
security.
Greatest. Oh, sorry, yes, control security. It's 1 point better. I will spend 1 point of momentum for an additional die.
All right. Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that you are going to hit it. The bad news is there's going to be a complication. But let's roll damage first. So,
The good news is he aimed.
oh, that's right. He did aim. You could reroll that 20.
Oh, right. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. There you go. You turn that 20 into a 1, literally the opposite side of the die. So you get 2 momentum back, bringing you up to 5. So yeah, let's talk damage. Your security, if I remember correctly, Krell, is a 2. So I need you to roll me 5 challenge dice here. And you can do that either by clicking the badge icon next to your phaser type 2, or by clicking the perform challenge button and putting in 5.
All right.
All right, so since somebody did ask about this, I'll explain what these results mean. So the Star Trek Adventure System uses a specialized D6. It does not have standard faces. 1 and 2 are the same. That's those little explosions you're seeing. So there's 2 2s and 1 1. So that's already 5. 3 and 4 on a normal die. On a Star Trek die, they are blank or 0. So that's what that middle blank die means, is it was a 3 or a 4. And then the delta symbol is 5 and 6, and that means 1 plus an effect. So as you can see, the total here is 6 successes with 1 effect. So you are going to hit the hulking figure, and you are going to do some damage, but what I'm going to tell you is that your phaser does not seem to have as much effect as it did earlier in this adventure when you guys phasered in the transporter room. In fact, I would say that it is half as effective.
All right.
Which unfortunately means that the entity is still moving.
Can I spend 2 momentum to add 2 additional damage, and that would that only count as 1 damage? Then?
Well, so the way I would tell you is they had a certain amount of resistance before. They now have double that amount of resistance. So maybe to make it a little bit more clear, normally you would have been doing 5 damage. You're now only dealing 4 damage.
Okay. I'd like to use one of the momentum I gained from this roll to give myself an additional point of damage or reduce the resistance by 1. I believe
Either would be
that's
valid.
Let's reduce the resistance by 1 to knock it up to 5 points.
Okay. Then yeah. And again, the magic number in Starship combat, or not Starship, in Star Trek combat in general, the magic number is 5. And with 5 effects or 5 damage after the resistance has been applied, you fire your phaser. There's a bit of stumbling. There's a bit of resistance in the entity as it kind of struggles to stay up, but it remains stunned, floating just off the grav plating for the time being.
Whew. Glad that worked out, I say to the captain. I was never.
It looks like it worked good.
I was never an ace at tactical training.
Well, let's finish admiring your prowess with a phaser, and let's get into the turbo lift.
Aye, sir. Deactivate the gravity. Just back to normal gravities. Let's watch the thing.
Oh, no, you misunderstood what I mean. When I said you activated the grav plating, it's either 0G or Jupiter gravity while you're connected to the system.
Oh, that makes sense.
Gotcha. Cullen is going to relock the consoles on the bridge.
Okay, you are going to use your command code to do that?
Yes.
All right, then I need you to give me a presence command, difficulty of 3. And don't worry, Thestral and Mene, we're coming to you next.
No worries.
Starfleet Protocol is a focus?
Starfleet Protocol definitely is a focus.
And I will take a momentum for an extra dice.
All right. 3 successes is what you need. Very nice. So yeah, Cullen, you put in your command code, you relock the ship, and as you step into the turbo lift, another broadcast comes from that same unsettling Shodan/G-Man voice, and they say, "You cannot stop our greatest work. We will gain control eventually." Meanwhile, down with Thestral and Minetti, Theshel Minetti, you are going through the Jeffries tubes, and you're maybe about 3 or 4 junctures along when you hear a crash and a bang, which would signify that your friends, quote unquote, managed to get through that door you maglocked. And Minetti, if you look back over your shoulder, you do see that the same bulked out individuals that attacked the Krell and Cullen on the bridge, there's now 2 of them, still single file, coming towards you in the Jeffries tubes at a very alarming rate.
Okay. Are there any I guess door wouldn't be quite the right word, but are there any doors inside the Jeffries tubes that have
There's
nearby
one at every
control?
juncture. You could attempt to engage one there and hope it holds, is certainly an option, or you could just shoot them. That's also an option.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I might have a better chance if I just shoot them.
Okay.
Manetti is a bit more combat trained than he is engineering trained.
All right. Well, Minetti, give me another control security difficulty of 2.
All right, I do have a focus and hand phasers.
Would definitely apply.
You said control security?
Yep.
I am going to spend a momentum. Go.
3 successes, you get that momentum right back. Well done. And yeah,
Right.
same thing where it's 3 plus your security scores. So for you, that is either 7 challenge dice in the perform challenge or click the delta next to phaser type 2. That is
3
wow.
effects, 8 successes.
Wow,
Manetti is
that
really good with a hand phaser, guys.
Yeah, so yeah, even with their added resistance, you line up a shot and fire your phaser. And I'm gonna say with that much damage and that many successes, you stun the first one coming towards you, and they fill up the Jeffries tube. So his fellow is unable to get past you. As if Thestral, if you want to shut the door, quote unquote, behind you, you could essentially buy yourself some more time to escape.
Okay.
I think I got one if you can get that door closed.
You know, I feel bad that I'm impressed by that, but that was impressive, Minetti.
It's just the result of too many hours at the academy range.
Okay. I'm going to pop open one of the door one of the, what are they called? The airlock controls.
Mhm.
The emergency bulkhead controls.
Yep.
And input the code for emergency quarantine, which is code 710, by the way. Me, Star Trek, nerding out. And see if I can get that door closed or that bulkhead closed.
Yeah, well, good news. It's a control engineering difficulty of 1.
All right. Control engineering difficulty of 1. All right. I don't have any focus, so just gonna see what happens.
All right, 1 success. Yeah, you are able to engage the emergency bulkhead release. And sure enough, the bulkheads materialize and fill up the space. And you're pretty confident that unless they have unlimited hours and suddenly gain the ability to bore through solid duranium, I think is what it is, you aren't going to have to worry about your friends, quote unquote, for a while.
Great. May I ask a few questions that hopefully all of us would have prepped, prepping for this mission?
Yeah.
What is the typical crew complement for an Archer class vessel?
It is typically about 15 to 30. You would have known that the Merryweather, had 25.
Okay. All right. And does it have a backup bridge?
No, it is a small enough ship that it only has the main bridge.
Okay. Environmental control, how close is that to us right now?
I would say it's a few decks down, and unfortunately, it is next to the cargo bay.
All right. The cargo bay, is it an exterior? Is it Does it have access? I can talk. I really can. I promise.
Mhm.
Does the cargo bay have an exterior hatch?
It does, yes.
Okay, keeping that in the back of my mind. Thestral to Cullen,
Colin here.
where would you like to rendezvous?
Well, we got ourselves a little personal repulsor field, if you want to call it. So we're making our way to you.
Okay, then. Okay, let's meet. I'll look at my schematics for a moment. Can you can you suggest an appropriate place for us to meet?
Yeah, it depends. Do you want to be somewhere outside of where all the entities are roaming around? Do you want to do it outside the cargo bay? Do you want to do it in environmental control? It's really just where you all would like to reconvene to either go ahead and rush into the cargo bay or rush into environmental control. It's really your call, but I can certainly do one if you don't have any ideas.
What about sick bay? How far is sick bay?
Sick bay is far enough away from the cargo bay and environmental controls that you should be safe, yes.
Right. Captain, I suggest we meet in sick bay.
Sounds good to me. We'll head over there now.
Great. We'll keep an open comm link. One other question. I've been avoiding this, but since we're talking about an emerging possible intelligence here, I'd like to open my mind telepathically.
Okay. I was waiting to see if you'd do it. All right.
Yeah,
Yay, Anar stuff.
Yeah. I need you to give me a fitness and a medicine here.
Gotcha.
I am going to say the difficulty here will be, let's set it at a 3. But I'm also going to
Okay.
tell you that I'm spending some threat to make the complication range 16 to 20.
So difficulty
Ooh.
3. All right, I am going to spend a momentum. Actually, I'm going to spend 2 momentum. And I don't really have any applicable. Would xenoanthropology be an applicable focus since I'm trying to connect
To an
ascertain
alien
information?
mind, yeah. I'll let it happen, sure.
I think you're awesome. Okay. All right, so that gives me a total of 4 die since I spend 2 momentum and I'm using a focus. And you have changed the complication range to 4, right?
5.
5. Oh my God. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, hey, this is what the game's about. Let's see how this goes.
Yep.
All right. Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that you do get a momentum back for your trouble. The bad news is that you rolled a complication. So, what that's going to mean is, Thestral, you reach out with your mind and you are able to make contact with this, for lack of a better term, hive mind. It's sort of in its still forming stages and it still speaks with that same stuttering voice. But before you can really start to form words and have a conversation with this thing, the hive mind attempts to leap into your mind and take control. And what I'm going to say is that since you already in this mission previously failed at a fitness medicine to resist this entity before, sure, you resisted it when the captain, sort of smacked you around a little bit verbally to wake you up. I am going to say that Thestral, as you and Manetti are still going through the Jeffries tubes, I need you to go back into bro mode for me.
Oh no.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Bro mode. The dreaded bro mode.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. Keep up. Yo, bud, keep up the pace. Come on, dude. Let's go.
I'll make sure I keep up.
Let's wreck it up.
And since I'm behind Thestral this time, I'm going to for a moment crawl one-handed as I just tap out the message once again to Cullen. And I'll just I'll tap out recurred. And I'll just say to Thestral, all right, let's hurry up and get to sick bay.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So, what's going to happen is we sort of go to the sick bay of the Merryweather, and it's not a very large sick bay. It's probably about the same size as the NX-01 sick bay, so very small, all things considered. Cullen and Krell, you guys enter through the main door with the grav plating crackling behind you, because again, it is stuck to either Jupiter or 0G as you walk around. And then as you two step into sickbay, Thestral and Minetti pile out of one of the Jeffrey Tube entrances to sickbay. However, at this point, Thestral, your bro mode has ascended, as it were.
Ascended.
Yes, and what I mean by that is it's like listening to a really good song that you're like, yeah, I really like this song. I like where it's going. I want to listen to more of it on loop, kind of a thing. And
Yeah, I'm not walking. I'm just doing burpees,
nice.
as I'm walking. So yeah.
But it's
like,
one of those things. It's one of those things where if you hadn't gotten a complication, you would have, automatically or instinctively closed the connection to the hive mind. But for the moment, again, it's just such a sweet song that you're like, I want to keep my mind open to this thing.
Hell yeah.
I'm assuming
Great.
this is a very different personality than what Collins used to see.
I think that's a
And
fair
Minetti would
assumption.
definitely shoot you the eyes.
He just looks at Thestral. Like, Lieutenant Thestral, have a seat,
Professor,
please.
what's up, bud? I mean, Captain. I knew I was gonna fuck that up eventually. Oh, damn it.
Have a seat down on one of these little bio beds, why don't you?
No can do, Cap. We got work to do, bud. We gotta
not a
take
request.
control of this ship.
Yeah.
Are you pulling rank on me, bro? All those moments in your study hall, and I thought we had a cool rapport, bud. I thought you were one of those cool captains.
Thestral, biobed, now.
You're not my dad. Man, I was going to invite you to CrossFit too. God damn it.
That's good. Fine.
All right. Oh, so we're testing out the biobed. Is that what we're doing? Cool.
We're testing out the biobed. We're going to see how great of a specimen you are.
Hold on, I'm gonna roll a challenge die here. Thestral doesn't want to see an effect. Okay, yeah. Carry on.
All right. My feet are going to dangle off the edge, though.
And
all right, I'm on the biobed. You happy now? We really got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we do. Starting with you.
Yeah, I don't think this intelligence is so bad, bud. I really think we should be spending our time studying it, getting to know it. Connecting.
How would you go about connecting with it?
Oh, I opened my mind up to it already, and it is sweet.
Well, let's scale back on that opening the mind for a moment. Let's run some tests and see how awesome you feel.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll run a medical scan on them.
Okay. Reason medicine difficulty of 1.
Field medicine?
Would apply. Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm rolling great tonight.
Yeah, I don't think an 18 or a 19 is going to help you here. So, Cullen, you push a few buttons on the biobed, and you realize that this is one of those type 3 alpha beds, not the type 2 beta beds you're used to. You have no idea what you're doing.
Just gonna look at these buttons, look to Krell and Minetti, see if they have any idea.
I kind of just shrug my shoulders, just like, don't look at me, man.
Would I be able to identify the system differences between the two with some sort of con roll?
I would say that you could attempt your own reason medicine, but if you fail again, it's going to be funny.
Medicine's not great. I don't think that's a smart idea.
I believe in you.
Yeah, what's
I
the
have
worst that
faith
could
of the heart.
happen? No faith of the heart here. No.
I mean, it would basically be a 50-50 shot for each die, so that's pretty bad.
Well, you only need one success, I believe.
Trying to see, would I be able to use one of my values?
Did you already spend determination? I forget.
I
don't.
don't remember if you gave me one back or not, but there's one on my sheet. I
If
believe
it's still on your sheet,
spend
we'll say
one
you
last
still
time.
have it. Yeah,
I spent the one against
That's
what-
Thestral.
that's what it was. Okay.
All right. Well, I will spend that, and I will use body and mind alike must be healthy, which is pretty
Yeah.
important to this situation.
Very important. Yeah.
And so that gives me 2, but I still got to roll to see if I get complications and stuff, right?
Correct.
Said reason medicine.
Yep. Reason medicine.
Focuses. Is the complication range the same?
Same as it was. Yep. All right. And
Look at that.
with determination, that's 3 successes. So you actually get a point of momentum back for your 2 momentum for your trouble. So Minetti, I have good news and I have bad news about Thestral. Which would you like first?
Give me the bad news first, I guess.
The bad news is that even though Thestral was exposed very briefly to the contaminant, you are noticing that his metabolism is going on hyperactive sort of warp speed drive. And what I mean by that is, remember how in session 0 where the de-evolution effect was causing Jasper to like mutate before your very eyes? It's not as effective here, where it's not like Thestral's like instantly like hulking out or anything. But you are noticing that his muscle mass is increasing at an alarming rate. In fact, if nothing is done, Thestral might be irrevocably changed based on this effect. The good news, though, is that you are able to tell that most of the contamination and most of the driving force behind this mutation effect is coming via the telepathic link. So if you can find out a way to cut that off, you might be able to stop or maybe even reverse what's going on here.
Okay.
However, I am going to point this out. If you turn off Thestral's telepathic abilities, he's not going to be
You
able
also
to
can't
see.
see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Am I restrained?
All right.
Yeah, you still have manacles on your front, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's right.
I'm gonna look to the captain and say, I think we have to turn this other machine on over here for it to truly register all the awesomeness. It doesn't seem to be giving us the full awesome level here. And I'm gonna motion for the captain to like step far enough away that I hope that Thestral can't hear us.
Well, you're also in environmental suits that you can just go one suit to suit. You don't have to go to wide beam.
Oh, you're right. That is so convenient. I will turn away from Thestral then, so that you can't see that I'm talking, and I'll link into the captain's suit, and I'll say, good news, bad news. Good news, and stop what is happening to Thestral, or at least massively slow it down. Bad news is to do so would be to render him blind, and I'm not sure the methods we would use to render him blind. But if his connection is continuously allowed with this entity, going to continue to change and going to get bad fast, and eventually there won't be any coming back.
I see. Well, you can try and talk to him again and see if you can pull him out of that. Get behind him. Prepare to stun on my mark if we can't calm him down.
Understood, sir. And then Eddie will casually move over and act like he's fiddling with something that be behind Thestral.
All right.
Cullen's gonna walk over in front and pull up a chair and look at Thestral.
What's up, Captain?
Huh? You figured out my age yet?
No, sir. I don't know, bud. I mean, I'm just hella mad that I didn't that I assumed you were human all these years. All those times you sat with me in office hours, and man, do I have do I look stupid?
Oh, it's not your fault. My species looks exactly like humans for the most part. Maybe
Yeah,
a little extra
what's
thing
the
here or there, but
what's the deal with that, by the way? Like, so many people, so many humans look like so many other species.
oh, you wouldn't believe it if I told you.
Well,
There's a reason why we have a common design.
yeah, I know there were lots of different theories that were floated around at the academy. Um, yeah, I was too busy prepping for the Olympics. Should have paid more attention.
Hmm. Hey, how about I give you another hint?
Another hit?
Hint.
A hint.
Yeah.
Sure, Cap. Do we have time for this?
Well, we got time for this.
Yes, sir. All right, bud. Whatever you say, Professor.
My time on Earth has been an informative one. You know why? And out of all those species I've traveled and met, seen them figuring out how to harness electricity, wondering how to make fire a second time, humans have such tenacity to be their own individual world. Every person, even within a family, can be vastly different. That's what I like about the humans. And not only just that, but it's infectious. Humanity has the dedication and the logic of a Vulcan, the stubbornness of a Tellarite, and the guile of an Andorian. But they also have the loyalty like a Klingon, and they've somehow managed to wrap it all into one perfect little being that wants to do nothing more than explore the stars now. Sure, their past was filled with a bunch of hatred and stupidity, and it cost them dearly extinction 3 times at their own hands. More, if you want to count the environmental damage they caused. But they put aside all of their grievances with each other, and it took time, and they got better. It wasn't overnight, it took them a while. And I was happy to see it. I was happy to see how far they went from figuring out how to use nets and boats to go fish on the sea. I was happy to see them slowly adopt to a better tomorrow, curing diseases that used to ravage their people. And their ideals of exploration are so strong, they got you and so many others like you to join Starfleet, to become explorers.
Can I admit something to you, Captain?
Go ahead.
I love Earth. I love it. I spent 2 years there during my study abroad in Lesotho, and I got to run and explore all over, and I loved my time at the academy. I mean, Some of the humans were annoying, and some of them were very gregarious, but I just love that planet. I wouldn't admit that to anyone else but you. But I hear what you're saying. It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah. And out here, when I took over command, I told you and everyone aboard the ship we're going to encounter the strange. And we're going to work through anything that we come across. And I need you to remember who you were. Because this isn't you. You're not competitive. You're not aggressive. But when I look at you right now, after you opened your mind up to this hive, I see someone that might want to hurt me. That's not you, is it?
No. No. He thinks for a second. Professor, I've had so much respect for you. My brain. It's just, you're right. I never, like all those races I ran, all the Ironmans I did, it was always about, pushing my limits. It wasn't about competing with the others, but I would get mad when I lost, and I would get mad when I wouldn't place, and I'd get mad when I wouldn't meet the expectations I had set for myself. I am capable of being mad, but I feel really mad. You're right. I feel really, really angry. Like, why am I in these manacles? Why are we in this situation? Why aren't we communicating with these people?
Well, you tried to communicate with these people, and they're changing you.
That's my job, though.
Yes, but it's not your job to be their experiment or their weapon. Your
I don't want to
job
be
is
anyone's
to...
weapon.
Right. I mean, your job is more than just a communications officer. Your role aboard a vessel is not just to go, hey, I have a message for you, Captain. You serve as our communications officer. You're our bridge to the unknown. The first person that gets to talk to anyone gets to be you. Don't let whatever this hive's trying to do take that away from you.
Okay, at that, yeah. Oh my God, you're awesome. Thestral snaps into place. He remembers that he's just so appreciative that he has a captain that realizes I'm not hailing frequencies only, and just I have like low key love, admiration for Cullen. Is there any way? I mean, I don't know how to play this. Do you want me to continue pushing or?
Well, I will offer you this. Personally, I'm content with that role playing if you want to narratively say that you snap out of it. But if you want there to be a random element to it, we can make this a role. I'm going to leave that to your decision, though.
No, I think he snapped me out of it.
Okay.
I think he
Now, one
snapped
thing
me
I
out of
would
it.
say real quick is that as you come down, I'm going to say that Minetti, you're still looking at the bio readings. You do see that the change is still occurring, but it is a much lower rate, and it is still reversible in its current stages. But
Hey,
carry on.
I'll give the captain an okay sign, but shake my head a little bit, like it's not a perfect solution, but we solved it for now. I also I had an untapped potential die I'm supposed to roll that I forgot to roll. I just didn't want to interrupt.
Hey, I get threat. Nice.
You do. We get one momentum, and you get one threat.
Yep.
All right.
So if Manetti is like relaying that information just through gestures, he's going to look at Thestral and he's like, so that was the good news of me talking to you. Ready for the bad news?
What's the bad news, Captain?
When your helmet got cracked, you Unfortunately, it looks like some of that stuff got inside and you've been exposed. While you're resisting the urge to break me like a twig, it's still affecting you. Slowly, but... So we're going to have to figure out how to help you. And, well,
I can actually help with this. We're going to need to inhibit my psilocybin levels.
Well, we could do that, but there's also going to be physical changes, too.
You know what? What did you say? One problem at a time?
Well,
we all need to get out of here alive, and I'm just part of this crew. We can address the long-term issues later. I'll just require a little more guidance, but I can help.
Well, right now we're in sickbay, and unfortunately I never taught medicine in the academy. Mostly I taught what I taught, and these newfangled beds are kind of confounding. So if you want to take a look at your own readings...
Right. Mr. Krell, could you come here for a second?
Yes, Mr. Minetti.
Oh, it's actually Thestral.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. I was wondering when that was going to happen. I wonder if there's some way we could adapt some of this diagnostic medicine to do a continuous attach directly to me and do a continuous readout. Just be on a continual diagnostic cycle and checking me constantly. Is there some way you can fiddle with some of the with the medical tricorder?
I can give it a shot. Let me get one.
Right, and I will look for the appropriate. I'll look around sickbay for the appropriate formulation to temporarily dampen my my telepathy.
All right. So I have kind of another offer for you all. We can either handle this medical stuff via a single high difficulty roll, or we can do this via an extended task. Now, before we go into the extended task, I've typed out what it would be. It would be a work track of 14. It would be a magnitude of 4. It would be a difficulty of 4. And you would have 10 intervals of time to do it in. And don't worry, I can explain all of it again if you're lost. But what I would tell you is that the intervals are until it is irreversible. And every time you guys do an attempt, I'm going to be rolling a challenge die. If I roll an effect on that challenge die, more of the transformed crew will attempt to break into sickbay. So there's benefits to doing a single high difficulty versus the extended task, but you are at 6 momentum, so that's why I'm offering this now rather than saying one way or the other for sure.
I personally all for the extended task because I have Miracle Worker.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested in using that, but don't let that sway the choice for everyone.
I am for the extended task simply because extended tasks, whenever I read about them, they elude me. You know, I thought about trying to make some kind of chart or diagram to understand it better, but I just haven't been able to make the time to do that yet. So just for educating myself and getting more experience with extended tasks, I would be in favor of that.
Personally, I'm fine with either. Minetti will hold the door either way.
Okay. And then Chizno, I'm assuming you don't care one way or the other?
That is correct.
Wonderful.
It won't allow me, though, to use, I think, reassuring, though.
Let me double check reassuring. When you exceed a test using your presence. Yeah, does allow them to ignore a single complication roll. That would indeed. Yep. Neat. All right, then let us set up this extended task. So there's a few ways we can go about this. The main role is probably going to be a daring engineering or a daring medicine, depending on who's doing the main role here. Obviously, if it's Krell, he's doing the daring engineering. Anybody else is doing daring medicine, unless they're assisting, which would be a present something. What I would say is that the difficulty starts at a 4, because that's the difficulty of the extended task. And then once you succeed, hopefully, at that extended task, Then we start dealing with how much work do you do? Is it enough work to tick down the magnitude? And I'll explain that as we go through it again. But the important thing is that before any dice are rolled, by default, every extended task attempt costs 2 intervals. So if you want to reduce that interval to only 1 interval, you would have to spend 1 momentum or 1 threat before any rolls are made.
Everybody fine with spending a momentum?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Alrighty.
Okay, so that'll put you at interval 1. And then, yeah, who would like to take the lead here?
Well, I'm the trained field medic. So, hey, I have another question. What would it take to, I read something in the core rulebook about spending momentum to gain the assistance of an NPC?
So the way NPCs work in terms of rules is written is in order to activate an NPC or a supporting character, you have to more or less use what is called crew support. But I have never used crew support in my games because it's not interesting to me as a mechanic. If you want help from just an NPC, I would allow it. You just got to tell me who it is you're talking to and what it is you're trying to get out of them.
I would love help from our CMO.
Okay.
Some guidance.
Did I even make a CMO? I guess is the question. Let me look real quick. Nope, but I can generate up one very, very quickly. Give me 1 moment. Also, thank you to the Raiders. Hello, Raiders.
His name happens to be Galen.
I vote.
All right, I got one.
Hey, folks.
Yeah, if you want help, your CMO's name is Charles Dean.
Cool.
And he is a commander.
Okay. Let's roll to Dr. Dean.
Go ahead. Is everything all right over there? The last time we heard from the captain, it sounded like there was a medical emergency over there.
It's the medical emergency is it's up and downs right now. I've been infected by this mineral or this organism, and we're trying to slow the progress by dampening my psilocybin levels, and we're trying to. So I could use some guidance with that. This is a little beyond me being my field medicine.
Well, pipe over your tricorder readings and I'll see what I can do.
Yes, I can do that, Dr. Dean. Thank you. So I will send that over.
Okay. So he'll assist you and I'll roll for him. But again, it is a daring medicine and we'll see what happens here. Again, the difficulty is a 4 at the moment.
Okay. Difficulty.
And I'll just go ahead and roll. Well, the Dr. Dean has critted, so that's already 2 successes. So.
All right. So I'm going to spend a momentum to get an extra die.
All right. Well, that's 2 successes plus the doctor's 2. You managed to get to 4. All right, so here's where the extended task gets a little tricky for people, but I'm happy to explain it in many different ways if I need to. So because you succeeded at an extended task, you now roll your work track. It's similar to what you're doing in combat where you're rolling challenge die to do damage. That's basically what you're doing here. You're doing damage against the work track, if it's easier to think of it that way. So your medicine is, let me look. Your medicine is a 3. So it would be 2 plus your medicine score, challenge dice. So it would be 5 challenge dice that you're rolling here.
Okay, so this is the first time I've rolled challenge die. I don't know how to do it.
Perform challenge on the sheet, and you would put in 5.
Put in 5 die. Oh, okay. That's a lot simpler than I thought.
Okay. So I have further good news. The good news is that much like in combat, the magic number is 5. And what that means is that since you did 5 or more work or 5 or more damage in one go, the magnitude and the difficulty comes down. So I'll put it in chat so everybody can see it. What that means now is that since you've achieved what is known as a breakthrough, the magnitude and difficulty have both come down to a 3. And once you achieve enough magnitudes, enough breakthroughs to put magnitudes to 0, that's when your extended task is completed. So you need to do that 3 more times, or if Krell wants to get involved, 2 more times, because Krell has Miracle Worker, which doubles his breakthroughs.
I absolutely want Krell to get involved, because there's got to be some engineering aspect to this.
Most definitely. All right, so that's the good news. The somewhat neutral news is, again, since it's one interval, I have to roll 1 challenge dice to see if Minetti has people to deal with at the door. Okay, no people at the door, you're good there. But yeah, narratively what happens is Dr. Dean does talk you through a few different cures that he's familiar with, a few different chemical cocktails that might be useful in your situation, and you are able to come up with a theory. The problem is going to be the delivery agent through the environmental suit at this point. So if you want to get Krell involved with that, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Let's see. So we're gonna try and get it to feed continuously through the EV suit, or does it just have to be 1 dose?
I would say that if you want to be extra sure that Thestral isn't going to be dealing with any long-term effects, it's going to have to keep cycling as long as you're on the ship.
All right. So we're gonna probably want it to be gaseous to be administered and then mixed in with the oxygen reserves. And I'm probably going to need to retool the atmospheric filters to let it pass. So let's start on the atmospheric filters.
All right. So, Krell, this is a daring engineering on your part. The difficulty is 3. Do you wish to spend a momentum or threat to reduce the interval?
Let's see. To reduce the interval, no, not right now.
Okay.
Focus of improvisation.
Would apply.
Let's see, 3 successes, you said.
3 difficulty. Yep.
Yeah. I'll give you a threat.
Okay. Gladly take a threat. Okay. Only 2, which means I can offer a success with a complication, or if you have any way to re-roll.
No, because I gave you a threat instead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, you have cautious engineering, not bold engineering,
Cautious
unfortunately.
engineering.
However, you do have testing a theory.
Oh, that is true.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can reroll 1d20 from testing a theory. Yeah, go ahead and reroll
Perfect.
that 17. There you go. There's the
Nice.
3.
Yeah.
All right, so for you, it's 2 plus your engineering score, so 7 challenge dice on your part.
Come on, breakthrough and effect. Yeah.
Okay. So this is where Miracle Worker really shines, because Miracle Worker doubles the breakthroughs happening. So because you did 5 work, that becomes 2 breakthroughs, which would normally lower the difficulty and magnitude to a 1. And I'll put it in chat so we can all see what's going on here. However, what I would tell you is that if you give me 3 more momentum or some combination of threat to get to 3, you will complete this extended task within 3 intervals of time. Because you will have filled the work track, and that's another breakthrough.
Hmm.
I think it's worth maybe 2 moments.
What does the rest of
one
the party
thread.
think?
I like that. I like the 2 momentum, 1 threat idea.
I'm a fan of chaos, so no momentum.
You want to switch
That's
the question?
all
there.
So how
I mean,
many
if we
more?
want to go off thread, I'm fine with that too.
How many more successes
3.
do I need to? 3. Okay, so that's going to be a 6 in total, correct? I'd have to spend.
No, it's 1-to-1, thankfully. So if you want 3
okay.
more, yeah, you just have to tell me which is going to momentum and which is going to threat.
Let's do 2 threat, 1 momentum. We'll make it 5. Or yeah.
All right, so you're at 3 momentum, and I'm at 5 threat. All right, well, yeah, with all of you working in concert, you actually managed to get the intervals within 15 minutes time. Again, this is why you're in Starfleet, because you're some of the best, even though you're quote-unquote lower ranked, you know what you're doing. And the good news is that when you administer the quote-unquote cure slash vaccine to Thestral, the song in your head never truly went away because we didn't do a roll for it. But when the cure begins cycling through your air filters, the song does vanish, and your head becomes much clearer. And your muscles ache, but they're not feeling like they're bulging anymore, if that makes sense.
That feels. Oh. Okay, this has been a roller coaster. Thank you all. Oh, my head hurts. Oh man, I'm gonna have to do some dynamic stretches when we get done this. Okay. Oh man, I'm so sorry again, everyone. Hey, Minetti, tell me something. In my latest little fever dream there, I didn't mention CrossFit, did I?
I believe you were particularly interested in, or you were saying you were no longer interested in getting the captain involved.
Oh no. Oh, I have stooped to a new low. Oh, I'm gonna resign my
Luckily,
commission when we get back to the ship.
it was a fairly tame conversation. I would say you don't have much to worry about.
Oh,
Oh no,
what?
I'd say I was actually quite hurt and crushed. I was looking forward to this. My day has been thoroughly ruined. I am wounded deeply.
Noted, Captain. Can we, is there any way we could apply this cure to the crew, or get some insights on how to cure the crew from this?
If you spend 2 momentum to create that advantage, certainly.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right. So the good news is that you can distribute this cure throughout the Merryweather, but you're not exactly sure the long-term effects. Now, what this thing is going to be able to do is that, much like a normal vaccine, it is able to help prevent and help deal with some of the symptoms of a disease. But for those that are already experiencing kind of a long-term disease or a long-term mutation, there might need to be some longer-term medical care, but you can at least stop the transformation process at whatever level it's currently at. Since you made it a advantage spend, all you have to do is go to the environmental controls next to the cargo bay, pump it in, and you're golden. But that's where threat comes in, because you just did 2 intervals of time, and I've rolled 1 effect. So remember that pounding sensation on the doors that you're getting very familiar with at this point? Yeah, it seems like the entity is not really thrilled with the fact that you're making a cure and is making one last Hail Mary with 5 entities coming through that door very shortly. Now, they aren't through the door yet, but there are 5 life forms out there.
So would, because that would probably do more to hurt us. I was gonna ask if welding the door shut with my phaser would help, but
I mean, it could.
I mean, yeah. Then we
Are
gotta
there
crawl
other
through the Jeffries tubes, and we don't know if they're in the Jeffries tubes either. Damn. I will start moving biobeds and things that are not currently in use to try and create a little bit of a barricade around the door, and then like stand in front of it with the phaser drawn.
Okay.
I'll help you with that to best of my ability,
Okay.
since I am now effectively blind.
So, Cullen, I'm going to offer you a thing here from Determination, since you have the value of failure to act can be as dangerous as acting rashly. You could release the command lockout from sickbay, because sickbay is one of those special instances where it can't override the bridge. It's an edge case, but it can happen. And you could deploy the cure throughout the Merryweather via that control. But the problem is that, as you might have noticed earlier, when you give the command codes back to the computer, the entity is able to expand its influence further. So I just
Muted,
got
FYI.
complication from chat. Thank you, chat.
Oh, I believe we have a momentary BRB.
Oh, he went BRB.
Colin.
Okay, which means I tell you what, let's go to a BRB. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll see what happens. Until then,
I
be right
see you
back.
then, folks.
And welcome back to part 2 of session 2 of Star Trek Aristotle. Where we last left off is I was offering a deal to the captain. And captain, while the cure, or the vaccine, or whatever you'd like to call the treatment that you have enacted on Thestral, while you normally would have to go to the environmental controls next to the cargo bay and feed it in that way, I'm going to say that if you want to use your value of a failure to act and be as dangerous as acting rashly, I would say that you could attempt to overwrite the command lockout from sickbay, because sickbay is one of those edge cases where it can overwrite the bridge. But you could overwrite the command lockout and enact the, I guess you would call it spore purge, or whatever, metaphysical or medical babble you want to call it. But you could do it here from sickbay rather than having to fight through the entities at the door and getting to the environmental controls. But that's only if you want to work on your value here. But the good news is if you do act on this value, I will give you a point of determination.
So what would that entail for the value? Like, would I have to rework it to something else, or?
I would say that you would basically be going against normal protocol, and you would be risking the entity or the hive mind from gaining further computer access. Because remember, every time you did the command lockout or the command override, the entity had some choice words for you.
Yeah. He's just gonna think for a good minute. You'd see him trying to stroke his beard, but EV suit doesn't let him do that, and he just kind of catches his hand pressing against the glass, and he just mutters. How many dispersal packets can you make of this little temporary cure or reprieve, whatever we're calling it? Something that can spray out this aerosol in a condense, maybe not so much as the word suffocating, but smothering spray. What's the term was it called? Man, this is hundreds of years ago. Earth used to have these fire extinguishers. Big red things. They're great for opening a jar of pickles if you're really angry, or getting someone out of your studio flat if they didn't have a proper key. Or try and get into your studio flat because you forgot your key.
Do you mean like some kind of fire suppressant? Some kind of chemical fire suppressant?
Yeah, a handheld one. Something we can spray down anyone that's aggressive enough.
Did we just check off fire extinguishing? Because remember, we started this session, or I guess technically this adventure, with the joke about Thestral getting, fire suppressed. So,
yeah.
Full
circle.
We've literally done Chekhov's fire extinguisher. Well done indeed.
Amazing. Well, let's look around. Let's see how much chemical propellant we have, or aerosol propellant. I can't help with that.
Girl can, though.
Indeed, I can.
Yeah. All right, Krell. Clearly, what's going to be the shining moment of your career, I need you to give me a control and an engineering at a difficulty of 1. And this is going to be representing you making a not fire extinguisher of the cure.
I'm going to buy 4 dice. No. I feel like I might be spamming this focus because it's so wide, but came from me from the character creator suggestion.
Improvisation.
Improvisation.
Yeah, it's valid. It's valid.
Alrighty. I'll just
And
do.
before a roll's made, would I be able
Yes.
to just give you a threat and spend a momentum to give an advantage?
Sure, what's the advantage?
The doctor of this ship really liked old propellant guns.
You're going to make dart guns.
Paintball guns, dart guns, you can name it.
Okay.
Airsoft guns.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to find the Merryweather's Doctor's secret stash of paintball guns, I'm all for it.
Perfect. Yeah, we could create like an expanding foam solution that reacts with oxygen and fill the paintballs with it. So then we shoot them, they just. Okay, focus, 2 dice.
All right. You managed to get 2 momentum back for your trouble. Well done. And yeah, what I'm going to say is that you're able to create 2 prototypes. One, you have a paintball gun with that expanding aerosol foam. And then you also have a more traditional, quote unquote, fire extinguisher that you could use that way. And not a moment too soon, because the doors to sickbay burst open and the entities begin trying to push away and clamber over the barricades that you have all set up.
I'm going to toss the paintball gun to Minetti. Mr. Minetti, catch!
Guess I'll catch it. Do I need to roll to catch it, or am I competent enough?
You're competent enough to catch it. Now, to shoot it is
Okay.
another question.
I hope he is.
I love this so much.
I mean, I'm good at phasers, but not necessarily old Earth recreational devices.
Right.
Works on the same principle.
So, Minetti,
Point and shoot.
you're going to be doing a control security here, difficulty of 2. However, you do not have a focus of hand phasers in this instance.
We'll spend a momentum. I will hope to get back with my young
Untap
officer.
potential. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, untap potential. Is there a same complication range? All that?
Yeah, complication range of 1. 3 successes. You do get that right
Successes.
back, and go ahead and roll untap potential.
Accidentally clicked. There we go. And then challenge die 1.
All right, no
0
momentum, no
successes.
threat. But all right, so Minetti, when you fire the paintball gun, it sputters for a few moments, and you're like, "Oh no, is there not enough gas in there?" Or "Oh, did the propellant or the quote unquote paintball get stuck?" And then, right as the entities are just about to burst through and start tearing at you all, you fire off a trio of shots, and you hit center mass on 3 of the entities. And immediately, as the quote unquote paintball hits, it expands in sort of this white foam that quickly envelops the chest area of this hulking, muscular being, and they immediately kind of like twitch a little bit, and then they fall to the ground. So you've taken out 3 of them, but there's still 2 more to deal with here. Oh, somebody played the X
Okay.
card. What's up?
Sorry.
Oh, that was a mistake? Okay,
Yep.
just making sure.
I somehow lost the momentum threat tracker.
Oh, for that you got to reload,
I'm very
unfortunately.
opposed to paintball gun-based violence.
Yes. Yes, clearly paintball based. You know, it's an important thing to have safety tools. But all right, so that means 2 entities are remaining, and that means 2 entities are going to get an attack in. Benetti, you are right up in front, so I'm going to give them 1 additional die with threat. 41. Let's expand that out and see if that's even enough to hit you. All right, Minetti, I need you to roll me a daring security difficulty of 2 here. If you succeed, you manage to dodge out of the way and deliver a counterattack.
All right. I will also note I do have martial artist, so I guess my attacks are harder to resist damage-wise.
Yep, they have
I'm not
the
really
intense
sure how
damage
that applies.
effect. Yeah, they have the intense.
And is it still just 2 dice, or is it 1 die for the defense?
It is still 2 dice, yeah.
And hand-to-hand combat
Most
count
definitely.
for my focus? Okay.
Yeah. 3
Quick
successes. You actually get a
question.
point of momentum back. So yeah, how would you like to counterattack? Would you like to literally like, judo chop
the
this
leg.
guy? Would you like to
Like dodge out of the way and then use his forward momentum to knock him over by sweeping the leg?
All right. I tell you what, if you want to give me that momentum you just got, I can say that you can paintball him in the face or the chest as he goes down.
Oh, for sure. That's a worthwhile spend.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that means one entity is done. The next entity is going to go for who's our lucky winner? Krell, you're our lucky winner.
Hooray.
And let's expand that out.
Could I
okay,
call out to
Krell. Krell, I need you to give me a daring security difficulty of 3 on this one.
Will do. Colin, you were saying something?
I just wanted to call out Jupiter gravity.
Also valid. Since
Yeah.
that is something you did earlier, if you want to enact Jupiter gravity, just give me the 2 momentum to make that advantage take place, and no roll will be required.
What are there other entrances into sickbay? And
yeah,
if I shut off,
there is the Jeffries tube that Thestral and Minetti came through.
oh, I don't like climbing through the Jeffries tube. It's so difficult. And if I go Jupiter gravity, is it going to block off the main entrance?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, if we have the Jeffries tube. So is this a situation where I can give you a threat instead?
Yeah, if you want to give me a threat and momentum or 2 threat, that would also be valid.
Let's do 2 threat.
2 threat. All right. No roll required then is as Cullen shouts out Jupiter gravity. You pull out your tricorder, you push the button, and immediately the gravity ramps up beneath the attacking entity, and they are pinned to the deck plating. They're struggling and they're trying to pick themselves up, but the gravity is just so intense that they're stuck there at the moment.
I kind of just like, oof. Thank you, Captain.
Yeah, no problem. Minetti, do you just want to give him a couple of pops?
If that's something I could do by
Easily.
Am I able to do that by spending momentum or?
No, you just walk over, go, psh, psh, you're done.
All right. Eddie will walk over, give him a few sprays, just to make sure they're immobile.
Yeah, and they stop twitching as much once the paintball pellet has been applied.
Well, looks like we did do the Krell Crush today.
I like the name of that sound of that, sir.
Well, if it means that we're not going to get ripped apart, I'm pretty happy with that name.
Captain, I think it's about time we negotiate a more even footing with this creature and try to make first contact.
Sounds like a good idea, but if it becomes hostile, more so, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt that this is maybe a reactionary outlash to being sentient for the first time. It's unaware, maybe it doesn't understand what life forms it's dealing with. But
Yes.
if it continues to be malevolent, well...
Actually, that's a good question. Now that we have a breather, like a temporary breather,
Mm-hmm.
can I look back at my UT? Can I computer switch UT to visual challenge mode?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do that linguistic analysis to see if I can get any insights into look at the raw information that was coming through the UT to get some insight into this thing's way of thinking, its culture. There's a lot you can tell from the linguistic analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Possible Minetti will help because I have a focus in
Oh yeah, you have that
xenolinguistics.
behavioral. Yeah, I will absolutely pull you into this.
I have behavioral analysis and xenolinguistics.
Great.
Nice.
And I have linguistics and xenoanthropology.
Very good for a security officer to have.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
All right. I think this is probably going to be a reason and a science here.
First both.
Difficulty of 3. And
All right.
remember, whoever's doing the assist, it's 1 die.
And it's the same role, reason science.
Yeah, reason science, unless you really want to argue for something else.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really have an argument for much else.
I'm gonna
That
spend
makes
one of
most
those.
sense.
I'm gonna spend one of those momentum. Do you want to assist me?
Yeah, I'll assist you rolling the 1 die.
Okay.
Here's the assistance. 1 success for you.
All right, so that's
Cool.
only 2 successes. Do you have any way to re-roll is the question. Doesn't look like you do, unfortunately.
Nope.
Let me look. Actually, hold up.
I don't think I do.
Insightful guidance is only if you assist a character.
Yeah, and that's only for a social conflict.
Yeah. All right. In that instance, I will offer you a complication, but you will succeed.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. What that means is I'm actually going to take 2 threat for that, because what's going to happen is you manage to translate, or at least see what the universal translator managed to pick up, and it's very, shall we say, how do I want to put this? It's very disturbing what you're seeing, because it's the closest thing I could make a comparison to is if anybody remembers in Dungeons and Dragons the language of supernal or abyssal, where whenever someone speaks supernal or abyssal, they always hear it in their own natural language, but you can't just speak supernal or abyssal. You have to specifically learn the language. Like, it's one of those mystical languages that auto translates to everything. So that's kind of what you're seeing here, where the language is, even without going for the universal translator, it's in Klingon, it's in Andorian, it's in Vulcan, it's in Human Common. It's all languages, period.
So the way I interpret that as a xenolinguist is it is using the universal translator to create a language itself, or to it's like reverse engineered the universal translator.
That would be a good way to think of it, yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's making telepathy. It's similar to telepathy, where it's not language dependent. It's more idea dependent or experience dependent. So what does that tell us? I mean, is this some kind of silicon computer-based life form that's forming circuits? I mean, that's an interesting theory or hypothesis. Anyway, okay, I'll report that to the captain. Yeah, Captain, it's kind of hacked our UT it's hacked the UT of the Meriwether to communicate.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
So far, it's expressing itself in every known language in the Federation database.
Well, the concerning thing is that it wants the ship, or what it perceives as whatever we happen to be in, but it may not realize where it's at.
Maybe we can reach a compromise with it, offer to take it back to its home planet.
Well, we could do that.
The idea that I had is it may be, for lack of a better analogy, something like a hermit crab. I think it may view this ship as a bigger shell, a bigger home.
You blow my mind, Minetti. What a lovely way to look at it.
We can find something sufficient to lure it away as a better prospect. That might be one option. Obviously not the Aristotle.
Well,
What about, are there any nearby asteroid fields or other mineral-rich phenomena that we could perhaps tempt it with?
I
Do
mean,
we know that
potentially
that's
there
what
there
they're...
is an asteroid belt in the Pericles system, but I have 8 threat, which means I can make another reversal. So we're just gonna spend all 8 of that threat.
Oh no!
And what's going to happen is the Merryweather is going to rock as if hit by phaser fire or hit an eddy or just general turbulence. And all of you kind of steady yourselves as the deck plates shift a little bit. And then you get a call from the Aristotle.
Aristotle, what's happening?
Commander River here, sir. We just noticed that some form of a capsule just jettisoned itself from the cargo bay of the Merryweather. We're detecting a large amount of the sediment inside that capsule. What are your orders, sir?
Tractor it and keep it away from the Aristotle.
It's not headed toward us, sir. It's actually headed out into deep space.
Grab it.
Aye, sir. We have it in a tractor beam.
Make sure nothing is getting back to the ship. Raise shields if necessary.
Done, sir.
Calling out. I'll be in contact soon. We're going to head to the cargo bay now.
All right. So we shift away to the cargo bay. And what you see inside, again, thankfully you're in EV suit, so this doesn't affect you. But yeah, the whatever was in here has been basically jettisoned outside of the exterior door, which has been raised and the force field lowered. And you do see signs of what used to be religious paraphernalia, where there were candles set up and there were little altars and little bits of worshipry here and there. But all of that got blown out when the entity presumably ejected itself from the cargo bay.
What
I'm gonna
about
take
all the supplicants that were worshiping at it?
You see no signs of them, unfortunately.
I'm going to take out my tricorder and take some scans of what's left. Maybe I can do, get some more insights into its culture, into its motivations and whatnot from the way it was worshipped.
Okay.
Yeah, but
While
then he's gonna go and go ahead.
while he's doing that, I'm gonna contact the Aristotle again and ask if they can connect their visual scanners to ours and give to our tricorders and give us a visual on the object that's been jettisoned, because it's screwing with our sensors, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So then, yeah, see if we can get some just at least visual identification.
Yeah. So what I would say is that when that connection goes through, what you see is essentially a trapezoid that's about 3 meters tall. It is lined in a red glowing language that, again, the universal translator doesn't initially pick up, but if you were to stare at it long enough, your brain would automatically interpret it as being all languages once more. But what the takeaway is that the runes on this obelisk are just glowing rapidly and increasing in speed, as if it's building up energy for something.
Hmm.
Can we scan this thing for any sort of warp capability?
I would say there's not enough energy for warp capability here, but again, you're not entirely sure what this thing is capable of. If you do want to do a scan, that would be a reason science or a reason security. And the Aristotle would assist you with either a sensor security or a sensor science, depending on which way you went about it.
My highest of those rolls would be 12. I'm not sure if anybody is better at scanning when it comes to that.
To do a scientific scan?
Yeah, I believe it's reason science or reason security.
Yep.
So
Oh, I could do a reason science.
okay.
I'm equally proficient in engineering as I am in science. So, okay,
I
what's
think
my
it might be
difficulty level?
best to have you scan it.
Okay.
Difficulty of 3 on this one. And if someone can get the Aristotle will be sensor science. And remember, the Aristotle always has a focus on their 1 die.
All right. So if someone could roll for the Aristotle for me, that'd be great. But I'm going to
Yep,
spend
I
that
got
last momentum.
All right, well, the Aristotle got you 2 successes. Very nice.
Ship's looking out for us, guys.
All right, 2 successes mean you get a momentum back. To put it simply, Thestral, what you're seeing is that this entity, this obelisk, is attempting to shunt itself into subspace. So it's not going to war per se, but it definitely is attempting to shunt itself into subspace.
Wow. It's trying to get into subspace, Captain. I'm fascinated by this.
While they were looking at that there, I want to look at how everything's been depicted. Any iconography, pictographs, anything like that there. I want to see what's the purpose behind it? Like, what did it achieve in terms of having a warship? Like, how was the warship conducted? Were there sacrifices? Was it benevolent or was it malicious?
To keep it Twitch and YouTube safe, I'm going to tell you that it was very malicious. So
Okay.
those red stains on the deck plating, make your own assumptions.
Colin's just gonna, once he hears it's trying to get into subspace, he's like, Rivers, Colin,
Hi, sir.
load photons and destroy that thing.
Confirming, sir, fire photons.
Fire photons.
All right. And since you have a visual feed from the Aristotle, you do see that the Aristotle launches a few photon torpedoes at the obelisk. It explodes in spectacular fashion, and presumably the danger has passed. I was going to add something at the end, but since Thestral, you did mute your telepathic abilities momentarily, you wouldn't have heard anything from the obelisk as it went poof.
Oh well, that's the way the dice roll sometime.
Just a Wilhelm scream broadcast
The
to the
Wilhelm
four corners of the galaxy.
Until next time.
Yeah. But yeah, after the object has been destroyed, the commander says, reading no sign of the device or the sediment, sir. What are your orders regarding the Merryweather?
Have Dr. Deans work on a cure. If he can't find anything within an agreeable amount of time, we'll have to quarantine the ship for full medical decontamination, which would mean back to the star.
Aye, sir. I'll get Dr. Dean working on it immediately.
We're going to need to be decontaminated thoroughly as well.
Captain, may I also suggest we might want to consider setting up quarantine probes around Pericles 2 until we've better assessed whether or not there are any more of those obelisks down there.
We're going to quarantine the system.
Very good, sir. I'll get to work on that the moment we get back to the Aristotle.
And Rivers,
Yes, sir.
make sure you note that I'm the one that pushed for the confirmation and destruction of whatever this was. If there's any blowback, it's on me.
Well, sir, speaking frankly, after what I've heard occurred on the Merryweather, I don't think Starfleet's going to have issue with you, sir.
Still, it could have been a new friend.
I'll help Rivers
Potentially,
make
sir.
sure that's added. I'll make sure I help Rivers add that to the official deck log for the Aristotle, sir.
Well, let's get ready to head back once we're decontaminated.
All right. So we do a small little montage of you all sitting in a decon chamber, the doctor checking you out, the doctor doing his own little montage extended task. And what ended up happening is the doctor is able to provide a partial cure Thestral, yours was caught in just the right amount of time. So Thestral, you experience no long-term effects. You are perfectly fine. As for the crew members that are still around on the Merryweather, Dr. Dean does have a way to stop the transformation process and halt it in its path, but he doesn't have a way to reverse it entirely. In fact, let's do a little scene here. Captain Cullen, you're in your ready room when Dr. Dean steps in and he's explaining this all to you. And Dean says, in my professional opinion, sir, there's no way of telling if we'll ever be able to fully reverse what happened to these poor saps. It could be a breakthrough within a day. It could be a breakthrough within 10 years. It could never be a breakthrough. There's just not enough data here for me to be able to safely figure out a way to revert what happened to them.
And the threats of them spreading their infection?
Unknown, sir. As you said, that sentiment was very invasive, as it were. The fact that it got through an EV suit crack that quickly to affect Thestral, in my professional opinion, sir, our best bet is actually to send the Merryweather into the sun.
The Merryweather no longer has anything fighting its control for the ship, correct?
That is correct, sir, as far as I'm aware.
It's able to land planetside?
Also correct.
And its transporters are able to operate within?
As far as I'm aware.
Lock on. Will remote control the ship into orbit of one of the planets that are habitable? And we'll beam the crew down to the planet's surface.
And then what
They'll
about the
have-
ship, sir?
The ship will then be scuttled.
Aye, sir. I'll let Commander Rivers know and we'll get it done.
Make sure to send me a list of all the crew complement. I have a lot of letters to write.
Aye, sir. It'll be done.
And we do a scene, like a brief scene, like the end of that that awesome second season Next Gen episode, with the where they had to blow up the Reliant class ship,
Mhm.
and everyone stood at attention on the bridge, the boatswain, as we scuttle the ship.
Mhm.
Cool.
And if I think I know where you're going with this, Cullen, as the Merryweather puts its crew down on a planet and then goes into the sun, the whistle sounds, taps is played. Cullen, do I understand correctly that you have the piece of metal from the previous captain of the Merryweather?
Yep.
All right. And then I think our final scene, if you'll permit me, is Cullen, you kind of go into your stash of metal and you find the one from the captain and you kind of look at it fondly as you also look out into the stars, and the Aristotle sort of drifts off into the stars to the stage left. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Nicely done.
So what'd you guys think? You know, I thought, interestingly, I cannot understate how we managed to do Chekhov's fire extinguisher. I don't think we could have planned that.
That was
Slight horror and PTSD crept back into my mind of Station 13.
You know, I wanted to give you a little bit of a creepy thing because it's a TOS wreck, and a TOS wrecks are always creepy. So
that's just one of those beautiful serendipitous moments that happens in RP that just you can't explain to people.
Mhm.
You know, that was just wonderful. Well done, everyone. I'm so grateful to be as part of this crew. You guys are awesome.
For sure, I can definitely second that sentiment. I'm also very glad that Eddie got to do something that wasn't karate chopping or phaser this time. Finally got to use my xenolinguistics to help out Thestral, which was nice.
Love it.
I actually have a little bingo card from Manetti, and I am still waiting for Double Fist Strike.
I mean, I don't have too many other characters who have knocked a panther unconscious with a flying knee. That's just that was definite bingo card material.
Yeah. All right. Well, Twitch, stick around because we're going to rate somebody. But YouTube, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you later. Bye, YouTube.